Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeball, he won holy roller. He got hair down to his knee. Got to be a joker, he just do what he please.
On Koof Radio, we are live. We are in the house, and the house is definitely packed tonight. We got my co-host Rob, fuck you, Donald Trump with A's Dildo. Mars is in the building. We got Ron, the usual, by any means necessary. We got Cookie Lady with the NY vibes. We got Jackie Chandra. Quincy disappeared. We hope we get him back soon.
He'll be back.
The world is still stupid.
The world is still stupid. As a matter of fact, let me drop that for the banner again. I thought I was going to change it, but I thought maybe what was I wrong for thinking a week later the world would be a little less stupid, Chandra?
Yes, because this is 2020.
Bruh, it feels like it's getting worse. The depression is getting realer and realer every week.
Absolutely insane.
Ron, what's your prognosis for the world right now? What you feeling?
I'm feeling encouraged. You know, whenever there's that period of sort of like a down, it's like, you know, life is like the stock market. You know, it's always going to come back up. You just got to remain positive and stay focused. You know, I try to stay away from some of the white noise, so I may not be as irritated as you guys may be, but when I jump back in, it's usually with a positive attitude. You know, I'm trying to remain that way because as a whole, you know, the outlook is bleak, but you know, we make our own reality. And, you know, that positive approach and staying focused and staying on point is what's going to get us what we need. So,
hey man, I'll thank you for saying that. I thank you for saying that because I feel like we need some of that right now. Like we really do need some of that perspective right now because I talk to a lot of people, and I'm not even exaggerating. I've heard so many people say, like, first thing off top, they saying like, I'm depressed. Like when I first talked to them, they like, yo, I feel depressed right now. And this is like not one person. Like this is a few people that I've spoken to that they really feel like, yo, the world got me depressed right now. And I think that sucks. And I think it's sad. And I think we have to do whatever we have to do, regardless of whatever is going on in the world right now. We have to do whatever we have to do to protect our mental health. We have to do whatever we have to do to protect our own peace of mind. Because if you get too inundated with all of this stuff and all of this information, and like Ron said, you know, sometimes it may be good to step away from the white noise. Sometimes it may be good to take a break from the political stuff. You know, some days you'll see me only in sports group that day, and that's really specific. Like I'll go hard in a couple of sports groups for a few days just to have an escape, just to have a break away from the monotony, have a break away from all the, because it's so much news that's coming and it's hitting you so much and so often, and you get inundated with that. It really can affect your psyche, man. So I'm telling everybody out there, if you can, do the things that you can to like enjoy your family and enjoy people around you, enjoy your own peace of mind. Like you have to create your own peace of mind because stuff is crazy. It's probably only gonna get crazier. You know what I mean? Like, but in the midst of that, and I told I told Mars before we came on, I said, you know what? I find solace in, which is kind of sad that this is the thing we have to find solace in. America been treating us like this forever. The only reason that is everybody's up in arms right now is because they are getting some of the same treatments that we get. They are getting some of the same being cast aside that we have been having. Like they are getting some of the same. So for me, I'm saying like, yo, just to try to keep perspective, no matter how horrible America has been, we as Black America have been able to figure out how to navigate no matter what they have thrown at us. We have been able to figure out how to navigate no matter what they did legislative wise, because we had times where we couldn't even own houses legally, and we still had to figure out ways around that. We had times where we had to do workarounds just to be able to have our own entrepreneurship and our own businesses. And we figured that out in a time that we wasn't supposed to. So one thing that encourages me and keeps me encouraged is Black America has always found a way to figure it out.
And to add on to that, Dame, I think also is like we're all feeling this way. Like folks have to be able to talk to each other because there's so much internalizing and keeping this stuff inside. It's not good for your psyche. So, reach out to your brethren, your sisters, your mom, your parents, whomever, and just have dialogue, have a conversation, get that shit off your chest.
Absolutely. And try your best not to sit in this alone. Try your best not to sit in these feelings and this despair and what can feel like or seem like hopelessness with all the things that are happening. Some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, like we're going to get into the Breonna Taylor verdict. I know when people hear that, you feel like, here we go again. And then that feeling of hopelessness comes back. And then you find out that, Trump might get another pick on the Supreme Court. There it goes again, that feeling of darkness and hopelessness. And then after that, you see the Democrats, you feel like they might be punks and, they might not be able to they might not be willing to put up a real fight at this point. That shit gets depressing and underwhelming. You know what I mean? So I think we just need to, for ourselves, we need to keep our eyes on the prize and figure out how we as Black as America going to continue to thrive regardless of what happens, what goes on next in this election. Because seeing what's happening right now and seeing the landscape of how non-progressive the Democrats are trying to be, this was the first week I was like, I wish AOC was the Speaker of the House because she would do all the gangster shit we need right now to stop this fucking Supreme Court from being, just so things like that. But the Breonna Taylor verdict came out. Quincy, if you can, I want you to talk to the people, explain what the indictment is, what the charges are, and why, and also explain why we kind of felt like it knew there would be no murder charges anyway before this happened, and we tried to temper people's expectations before this. But go ahead.
Well, the AG of Kentucky, he presented the case to the grand jury. The grand jury is just like any other jury. It's a selection of citizens. The thing is that we don't know how he presented the case to the grand jury, because if it's presented a certain way, then you probably got the decision that the grand jury made. So basically, one of the officers was charged. I forgot his charge, but it had something. Basically, he was charged because he shot through either it was a curtain or wall, and the only reason why he shot was because other people were shooting, which is against policy, which is against that department's policy. And because he shot into other apartments, he's pretty much being charged as like a negligence charge, pretty much. The other officers, as we all know, all wasn't charged. I didn't think they were going to be charged quite some time now, just due to the fact that anytime you try to charge somebody with murder, the first thing you got to try to get to is, as far as proof, is intent. And so when I saw that it was a no-knock warrant, and I've had my own personal experience with no-knock warrants, and they pretty much are, they cause this environment, because the person whose house you're running into, they think somebody's coming to harm their family. And then you got officers who think they're, going into a house where they supposed to be catching drug dealers or whatever. And, people are firing back at one another. And very similar to this case, in the case that I'm aware of, is that I know about, is that the person called 911, and that's how the individual ended up being acquitted and not charged in my case, and the same for this case. And so the warrant pretty much protected the officer. So what we would have to try to get to charge those officers with murder. And there was a similar case in Houston where two officers was doing warrants, They was going to people's houses and robbing. And what they did was, you guys hear me fine? I know Mars, I'm chopping up.
No, it's chopping up pretty bad. You look like them Chinese kung fu movies where the lips are moving different.
All right, let me try to finish my internet.
All right, we'll come back to Q. While he tries to get his fix his technical difficulties, I want to talk to Ron about what you thought and what you felt when you saw the verdict, and I just want to get your thoughts overall, because I know for you always go back to it's systemic, you know what I mean? So go ahead and just and tell me your thoughts.
Well, for me, it was just it's kind of ironic that from what I've read and what I've seen on TV, and again, we don't know every little intricate detail, but it just seems weird that the now actual indictment has to do more with shooting in a place or sort of shooting in public, without understanding what your background is. So you're not really being charged for the shooting of Breonna. They're being charged for negligence and just firing a firearm without having line of sight and whatnot. So it doesn't come to anyone's surprise that a black woman once again is being harmed in America, and there's really just no justice for our women. And even in scenarios where we're kind of minding our business, doing us, not we're in the security of our home, we're not even afforded that little bit of respect, and so it sort of cements the fact that if you're black and you don't have a felony, you must remain armed, and this is why I sort of wear this Redstone firearm stuff all the time, because it's trying to send a subliminal message that we have to take our security seriously. I saw a video today where a black woman was being assaulted assaulted at this point by a police officer, and there's a bunch of black men around kind of just sitting around watching, and eventually I guess her boyfriend comes to the rescue and sort of helps resolves the issue with the officer as far as getting the officer off of her. But the reality is that it's just it's something that I think it's subconscious, is that it's okay to harm black women, and at some point we have to say enough's enough. It's no longer okay to harm black women. Our children, our women are our most important asset in our community. That doesn't mean that men aren't important, and I don't want to come across like that, but there has to be a hierarchy of this, and the woman is number one in that. The woman can do things that we can't. They can create children. They build the next generation, and until we're able to provide that security that they need, I don't think our black women can fully thrive properly. They're sort of surviving on their own, without our help. And this to me just again cements the fact, hey, we'll charge you with a crime, but it's not against that black woman. It's against you just being negligent with a firearm in a public place. So doesn't come as a surprise. I'm not shocked. I think we still forge forward. Again, we have to remain armed, and let's see how we can progress, if we can get this dude out of the office, to see where we can make some laws where we don't have to worry about things like this.
Sheila, let me ask you, do you feel like it's more disrespectful that they charged for shooting in the apartment than they charged for actual, her being killed?
Absolutely. I feel not only was it felt blatant to me. It's like, yeah, they did kill her, but hey, they shot through these walls. Innocent white people could have been hurt. We got to have some consequences here. Like, I mean, I don't feel that there's really another way to look at it, and that's the part of it that kind of makes you so angry. I remember Q saying before that you're supposed to be able to justify each bullet. Every time that you shoot, you're supposed to be able to justify it. How she wind up with 8 of them that landed in her body, and nobody accounts for that. Like, that's a little too much of a slap in the face for me.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I want to go to Q on this. Q, I want you to explain to the people the legalities of why this was a difficult case to prosecute, and why they were going to have a hard time charging with murder because of the use of no-knock warrants in this case. Go ahead. Is he frozen? Damn it. This is just the technical difficulty night is happening for us right now. Every blue moon we have one of these, man, and it looked like tonight is that day. But I'll do my best to see if I can try to explain. So until Quincy comes back, one of the issues in regards to the legalities, as a matter of fact, Chandra, can you just pull up Quincy's last post and read it for us? The post where he talks about it, because he can probably, that'll probably be the best way to explain everything for everybody who's watching, who needs to understand the legalities of it. And listen, we're not saying we support the legalities of it. We're not saying we agree with it. We just want to give you guys the information and explain it to you so you can understand what happened. Did you find it? Did you have it?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. So this was July 1st. Sorry, I don't remember exactly when it happened, but it was close to it. And I know we had discussed it, and he was having a hard time because, just how messed up the situation is in general, and knowing that, like Dane mentioned, the legality. So he says, so July 1st. So I've been asked by folks why I have about Breonna Taylor's case. The reason is I know there's some stuff y'all don't want to hear, and I don't want y'all to get mad at me, but as much as y'all don't want to hear it, I don't want to type it. Ooh. But I have to be honest, based on the law and facts surrounding the case, this is a long post because I tried to answer every question I've been asked about it. But since I know folks value my opinion on this stuff, here we go. I said from the beginning, it's going to be hard to charge these officers with murder. Why? Because they had a legal warrant that created the shooting environment. How are they? Oh, do you want to talk?
Shit. If the exorcists don't take over my internet.
Okay, I was just reading your post.
Okay. What part were you?
I just at the very beginning, they're talking about getting the warrant, the ex-boyfriend. Why do they use no-knock warrants? I was at the very beginning.
Well, just what I was saying earlier, that the issue, there was a case in Houston, very similar, where the guys was doing no-knock warrants and they was robbing people, officers. And
is that me or Q Raleigh at it again?
It might be him. He was saying he was having issues earlier.
I can't hear Dane either.
Can you guys
on mute.
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, I was on. So I was talking about the case in Houston. The reason why those officers was charged.
The internet gets one of us each week.
I was going to say, Murphy's Law is happening to us tonight. It's usually Chandra.
I think it's a conspiracy. I think they know what's up. We're trying to educate the people, so they're trying to fuck up with our internet.
Bro, this is insane.
Okay, let me just go ahead and read the post then. Okay. How were they able to get a warrant? Oh, I said from the beginning, it's going to be hard to charge these officers for murder. Why? Because they had a legal warrant that created the shooting environment. How were they able to get a warrant? The police department, the detective Joshua James requested a no-knock search warrant of Breonna Taylor's home after investigating the activities of Jamarcus Glover, who was known to the police as a drug trafficker, according to the warrant. Glover is Taylor's ex-boyfriend who, according to police, was using her address to mail drugs to the post office. Police note in the arrest warrant request that they verified the postal inspectors he was receiving packages at her address. Why do police officers request no-knock warrants? Because a lot of times when people know the cops are outside, they destroy evidence. no-knock warrant allows officers to enter without announcing themselves. So although Glover was in custody at the time the warrant was performed, the warrant wasn't for a person, it was for evidence. I think that they should have gotten more information from Glover to get better context of his relationship with the occupants of the department, because they would have discovered he hadn't been there in months since the last surveillance. And she had a whole new boyfriend. With that info, it would have been interesting to try to justify receiving a no-knock warrant. Nevertheless, Breonna's home was included in a no-knock search warrant signed by Jefferson County Circuit Judge Mary M. Shaw, reportedly based on representations by police that Glover used his ex's apartments to receive packages. I do think no-knock warrants are necessary, but only when they have an armed and dangerous suspect and the officers are 100% certain the suspect is alone in the home. Outside of the scenario above, I don't like no-knock warrants. Why? Because Kenneth Walker, who was laying in the bed with his girlfriend, hears a loud noise at the door, grabs his gun, he shoots because he said he believed it was Breonna's crazy ex-boyfriend. Obviously, they believe they entered a possible drug house and were fired upon, where the officers were shot. The officer shot back, hitting Breonna Taylor 8 times, unfortunately killing her instantly. The officers were in plain clothes and did not identify themselves. This is what he was talking about. He said there was a case in Houston where a couple was killed under similar circumstances, but officers admitted to lying on the warrant. In that case, you can prove criminal intent, and they were charged with murder. The no-knock warrant is responsible for creating the environment where the officers and Kenneth Walker both felt their lives were in danger. In order to charge them, you're going to have to prove that there was some criminal intent in getting the warrant. The challenge is challenging what you know, it's what you can prove. And I know we were talking about a little bit about how now the issue being no-knock warrants, because it was a completely legal piece of paper that gave them, legal access to create that environment. However, there needs to be some challenges, perhaps, because somebody said something about I believe the guy who they were looking for was in custody. So, but remember, he also said that they were looking for evidence. So not necessarily the guy. So a lot of people are saying, I'm not justifying anything. I think it's effed up all around. But because they were looking for evidence, him being in custody was irrelevant at that point, to what they were looking for. Now, what we probably should have done more is challenge maybe the judge. Did the judge go through all the motions did they answer all the questions to find out if it was, how long had he been, like he said, he hadn't been with her for a while. So is he still getting mail at the house? Are you, is this still a current thing? Are you just pulling out addresses or whatever? Because in this case, this is a drug dealer. Are we talking about like weed? Or are we talking about like some, Cuban drug lord that's really going to make a difference to, you know what I mean? Like, what were they really looking for? It probably is black dude. It probably simple. It probably wasn't even nothing big. So
does the crime match the
right? What they were, do we need a whole plainclothes SWAT officers coming in for 2 pounds of weed?
Some weed, yeah.
I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm just saying, like Ron was saying, does the crime match what? So, like, and then the case he was trying to talk about with the Houston case, they blatantly lied on the form. They lied to get the form. They lied for whatever information, and because they proved they lied, they admitted there was criminal intent. That's why they were charged, because they created the environment for that shooting, the couple to be killed based on lying and based on false pretenses. So now we need to attack the no-knock warrants. And I believe Quincy said earlier that Joe Biden, I know Louisville, you say Louisville or Louisville?
Louisville.
So you don't say that? Okay. Louisville, they and other places have outlawed it, and I know Quincy mentioned that, and I haven't seen it, but they were saying that Joe Biden and Kamala were saying that they're against it. And I believe, and I think this is my opinion. I think we need we starting to need some type of federal regulations, because all these different things with the states, they're not getting it together. They're not. We need some type of because it seems like if you break a federal law, it's more like serious for police officers. That's why they can go after them for like violating your civil rights and stuff like that. But these states, they're getting little things. So we probably need some more of that. But I don't know, Quince, if you heard. But I did find the Houston thing because you mentioned that on the post, so I kind of skimmed through it and went through it.
Well, I just bounced off of I think what Sheila said, or was it Ron, about the excessive. No, it was Sheila, because she said that you accounted for every time you shot. They shot 32 times. She was hit 8 times. They shot 32 times. I'll make it short because I don't know if she's gonna tap out. I think they could have been charged for manslaughter, and this is why. I'm sure Chandler probably broke down why they probably didn't get charged for murder 1, murder 2, but definitely manslaughter, because they let her go 20 minutes without any
attention.
Any medical attention. And if you remember, that's what that officer got in trouble for in Dallas with Bolton John, by shooting him and not giving him medical attention. So I at least think that they could have at least went with manslaughter for not giving her medical attention. And like I said, grand juries can only take the information that the AG is presenting them, that the prosecutor, whoever is presenting. So depending how they presented the case, but I definitely think they should have been charged, and at least a jury should have been able to decide after hearing their testimony, why did they think it was necessary to shoot 32 times? Although he did shoot first, so the boy shot first, so that would have been the challenge in the murder 1 and murder 2. But as far as manslaughter, if he shot that one time and then they announced themselves, shot some more, or wherever that happened, a jury should at least heard that testimony and then also heard them explain why did it take them 20 minutes to give her medical attention after shooting over 30 rounds into that apartment.
See, the big thing is for me is humanity. Like I feel like if they insist on having no knock warrants, it should be something to where, is it really worth a human life? Because you understand that anytime you bust into anybody's house, you are running the risk of getting shot at. You are running the risk of that person being in a position to defend themselves and their family because they don't understand why you're busting in their door. Looking for some evidence for a nigga you already have in custody, that's not justification enough to me for you to even be busting in their door. Like that should not have happened, period. Now, if there were some kids being held there and they're hostage or something like that, okay, yeah, bust in the door. Let's go rescue these kids. But on some dope evidence or anything, like I don't care if it was Pablo Escobar in there with 55 mountains of cocaine. It still is not worth somebody losing their life over.
No, and they were even saying it was that he got mail there, so it was not like he even
that's a whole nother problem. It was based on bad intelligence, right? That's where I fought the judge, because I've taken search warrants to a judge and had a judge tell me straight up, I'm not signing shit. Y'all need more than this. Straight up. That's how he said it. He said, I'm not signing shit. You got to give me more than this. So I took it right back. And the detective, blah, blah, blah. I brought it back. He was like, no. So he didn't sign the warrant. So we couldn't get a warrant. And then I've also had a case where we wanted a no-knock warrant. And he was like, the judge was like, who do you know that live in that house? I was like, it was blah, 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 man, kids. But he said, I'm not giving y'all no knock. He said, I'll do a regular. So that's why when that's why when you take a warrant to a judge, it's the judge's job to see, okay, yeah. So when you're talking about somebody who haven't been in someone's house, I forgot how many months the last time, and they don't really have pretty good intelligence. Well, they already know he's not in there, so there's a chance that some kids, anything, the judge shouldn't have signed that warrant. He could have just given him a regular warrant. It didn't have to be a no-knock. And so to me, there was negligence in the intelligence in the first place. There was negligence in the judge signing the warrant. Then it was negligence there at the actual scene. So I mean, that explains why they paid $12 million before. I've never in my life, since I've been involved in law enforcement, seen a city pay out $12 million to a family and the officers haven't even been charged yet.
Because they knew they were
wrong.
Yeah, I mean, especially that much, because normally it's around like 1.3, 2 million. It's never like over $10 million. So for them to get this family over $10 million in the officer, they knew they had fucked up, and they had fucked up from A through Z. It was just a bad deal.
And see, that's the thing. If there was a competent AG there, could have made it pay. But at the end of the day, it's like they're all scratching each other's back. Oh, we got a big fucking mistake here. Okay, well, we'll throw $12 million to make that problem go away. And then
I mean, Michael Jackson's doctor went to jail because he was negligent. Mm-hmm. You know, people go to jail, although it's their profession, for being negligent. But I think the actual shooting, I knew it was going to be hard, because that's why I personally, I don't like no-knock warrants. And I'm with Sheila. I think a human being life is more valuable than some evidence, because that's the only reason why you really do no-knock warrants, because they don't want the person to flush the evidence.
Right, but even in the stuff in which they were saying, they were contradicting themselves, where they started saying that they knocked on the door. If you have a no-knock warrant, then why all of a sudden are you knocking on the door? Like they're flipping shit up.
Well, that was a lie, because what they were mad at, that dude shot one of their guys. The guy, they were mad that dude shot one of their dudes, and they knew dude had they had found out he had called 911. Him calling 911 is the reason why he's free right now.
Right.
Because that's what happened in the case in Long Beach. No knock warrant, guys went in shooting. I mean, they barged in, dudes start busting. What saved him was you could hear him telling the 911, telling his wife, hurry up, tell the police to hurry up and get here. They shooting at him, not knowing that it was the police. So it's the same. Now, luckily, in that situation, nobody was shot. He didn't get shot. The family didn't get shot. No cop got shot. But it just shows the environment that warrant sets up. Because if anybody anybody kicking that happened at 12:45, Breonna Taylor situation. Her boyfriend, her ex, is crazy. So her new boyfriend thinking this is the old boyfriend that's a drug dealer coming in. So of course he getting on 911, said that somebody's trying to kill him. If it wasn't for that, he'd be in jail for attempt murder on a police officer. And so they were upset about that. That's when they came in, well, we knocked. Because they knew, based on the actual facts, which because other witnesses said they didn't hear nothing. They heard yelling and shooting.
Yeah.
So they tried to use that to build their case against dude, because they was mad that dude was about to get off for shooting the officer.
Quincy, can you please tell me the purpose of them showing up in plain clothes? Like, if you're doing police business, why would you not be in a police uniform for something like that, even in no-knock?
I mean, you have narcotics detectives. They be undercover, and a lot of times, I think anytime you go in people's houses like that on raids, you need to be in uniform. Whether I mean, you can have on all your SWAT gear and all that. Even the SWAT team, they're in uniform. When SWAT walk in your house, you know it's a damn SWAT team.
Right.
So that was another form of just being negligent, like not taking into consideration what the person who house you going into is going to think.
Right.
And that's the issue. There was a situation, and I was in uniform, whereas it was a domestic violence call. We go, I think Chandra laughed because she knows this story. There was a domestic violence call, and it's like 6 officers. Well, we get there, and this dude got this chick crawling backwards to him naked, and he like hitting her with a little whip. Like they was just doing some freaky shit. Well, the only thing he saw that it was a bunch of dudes, or he heard people at the door because their door was open. So the first thing he go grab something, and we all took off running. Yeah, it was weird because we all took off running, and the reason why we took off running because we know he was responding like anybody else. Look, okay, you being freaky nasty with your girl, you hear some peeping Tom, you don't know who's at your door. We didn't know if he was grabbing a bat, a gun, or whatever, but we ran because we knew at that point it was about to be a situation, and if he had turned that corner with a gun, it probably would have led to a shooting, and part of that would have probably been our fault because we didn't announce ourselves yet. But the moment he got up and took off, we didn't have time. We just took off running because we knew at that point he was responding like any of us would respond. And so that's the issue that whole scenario was created. That's why I think the warrants should personally be banned.
Yeah, and
issue with it, like where is it to where if they saw somebody in there had a gun, why they couldn't just run back out of the apartment and collect themselves out there? Why did they need to come back blasting?
Once you shoot one of them, somebody's going down.
That unless they see white people, because I've seen white people.
I can tell you exactly what happened. They walk into that house.
You got static. Yeah, go ahead, Quincy.
They walked into that house, dude fired, boom. He hit the first officer in there, and they lost their damn mind. I mean, Dan, we talked about that with that deal with the sheriff over there. The moment we said he was whooping their ass, and we just said, oh, that was overkill. That's why they shot like 21 times.
Yeah.
So you know, they walked into that house, that dude shot one of theirs, and they had no disregard for anybody that was in that house at that point.
Okay, so that brings me to the next point. Like, so now we see another blatant miscarriage of justice when it comes to Black Americans, or when it comes to civilians, period, in regards to civilians and police oversight, right? And that takes me to what's happening now, right? Justice isn't working for us now. Justice hasn't been working, and now the Supreme Court might be going to 6-3 majority for and majority for not only just conservatives but Trump conservatives, to me, which is different also. And listen, I'm not the person who thinks like the Supreme Court has done so much for Black people. I want to be clear, but some of the people they're talking about installing are specifically against stopping police violence against Black people. And I kind of want to get into, you know, the RBG, Ruth Ginsburg. I want to try to get into what her passing means, and what are the implications of them filling that seat. Because as we know and as we see, the Republicans are being, you know, their usual hypocritical selves. Because when Obama was up and it was 90 days from an election, they said we shouldn't elect a new Supreme Court justice because we're 90 days from election. So let the people choose. Now we're
we wasn't even 90. We was 10 months.
10 months. Yeah.
10 months. So now here we are less than 90 days. And they say, fuck that. We putting our people in. So now I feel like we're in a place where the Republicans are doing whatever, playing whatever rules they want to play by, and you still had a Democrat sitting at the table trying to play nice and trying to do everything by the rules. I'm here to tell y'all, honestly, if this Supreme Court thing goes and the Democrats don't put up a real fight, I honestly don't know if I would be able to support any of their candidates. Because to me, at this point, you have shown no fight. You have shown you don't have anything to try to stop what's about to happen. And as a matter of fact, I want to read some breaking news that just came through in Trump's last conference. They asked him, this is in regards to peaceful transference after the election. He said, get rid of the ballots and you'll have a very peaceful, well, there won't be a transfer. Frankly, there'll be a continuation. The ballots are out of control. You know it, and you know who knows it better than anybody else. The Democrats know it better than anybody else. The comments in the news conference Wednesday night followed earlier remarks that he expects this year's election results to end up before the high court. I think this election will end up in the Supreme Court, and I think it's very important that we have 9 justices, Trump said, defending his decision to seek the appointment of new Supreme Court justice in the short time before the November 3rd election. So he's setting up for him to not lead the presidency. And do we believe if he has the Supreme Court the way he wants, that they will really abide by the law and get him out of there?
Hell no. As corrupt as this shit is playing out, no. Because at the end of the day, if it hasn't become clear to people that this is about power, they'll learn in November. This is all about power.
Well, it seems the Democrats are the only ones who don't realize it's about power, which is my issue right now.
Well, that's because they don't have any. They really
right. The thing about the Democrats, not to cut you off, Q, is that they're playing nice. They are still in that 80s, 90s generation frame of thought where you could debate shit. That shit is long gone. It's like at this point you need to be in a motherfucker's face, like the AOCs, the women from Minnesota, the women like Michigan. Like you need to be in motherfuckers' face at this point. And I'm sorry to say, all this protesting, all this marching peacefully, yeah, that looks great for optics and whatnot. But at the end of the day, are y'all motherfuckers voting? Did y'all motherfuckers vote like 4 years ago? Did you vote 8 years ago? Did you vote 10 years ago? Did you vote 12 years ago? So I don't want to hear anything about people saying that, and I'm not coming at you raw, Dave, but it's at this point, it's a bigger picture. It's not just the Democrats, but motherfuckers aren't doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I agree. We dropped the ball. We dropped the ball several times along the way. We got Obama in there, and then we didn't come back in 2010, and that left him with a Republican Senate and House. And then 2012, which is weird because we came back out and we elected him again, but then Republicans gained more Senate seats and more House seats. So it was still a Republican Senate and House. And then 2014, they gained more seats. And then what they did was they told Obama, we know that there's 100 vacancies for federal judges, and we're not accepting none of that shit. But they told us from the beginning, when Obama first elected, that they wasn't going to pass shit. And this when they was the minority. And we still didn't turn out to vote. So then 2016 come, a Supreme Court seat opens. It's like if
wait, before you go into Supreme Court opening, I want to ask you, why do you think it is? Let's talk about this then, because let's try to be solution oriented. Why do you think it is that the Republicans have a hold on those midterm elections and the Democrats seem not to, and their messaging seems not to get through when it comes to midterm elections, and the Republicans seem to have a hold on getting their people out for the midterm elections? Why do you think that is?
Just naturally, we don't go out. We only go to general elections.
But that's what I'm saying. Why is it that we only go to general elections, the Democrats at large, and the Republicans, they go to all the midterm. Like, why? What is it that's happening for the Republican Party to continue to come out? Do y'all understand what I'm asking?
Damn, I know exactly what you're asking.
Because the Republican can have a one-track line message. They only appeasing one group of people. So their message is pretty much clear, and it was simple. We got this nigga in office, and if y'all don't like what y'all see, and y'all want the country back and all this shit, then of course they gonna come to vote. Whereas Democrats, they gotta appease multiple different people, and a lot of those people don't pay attention to midterms.
Exactly. You hit the nail right on the head. They don't pay attention. There's no awareness.
But then on this show, we were saying it. So it's not like some of us didn't get it. We got it. On this show, we were saying, look, they are not letting Obama appoint any judges. There's a vacancy in the Supreme Court. There's 2 people that's in their 80s. 4 years for people in their 80s. That's like that's a long time. I mean, you count your blessings, because even RBG, she underestimated the situation because they tried to get her to resign in 2014, and she basically said that, I'm gonna stick around because Hillary gonna most likely be elected. Which,
so that's what I mean. So even something like that. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the strategical missteps that we see the Democratic Party make. That's what I'm talking about. Like, for me, because as much as, like you said, you want to say that the voters dropped the ball, I don't think the voters dropped the ball, because like Sam said, a lot of Democrats don't even understand the power of midterm and local voting. But for some reason, and this is pre-Obama, like you said, Quincy, because we're going all the way back to Reagan, right? This is pre-Obama. The Republicans always find a way to have people come out for the midterms and the general, and for judges, and for those votes. So my thing is, what is the Democrats aren't doing to where their people aren't getting the votes and aren't getting the awareness that they need to go out more than the general election?
Well, like Chandra said about a month ago, their people know how it worked. We still got people that don't understand that if any black agenda gonna pass, this shit gotta go through a Congress that's gonna pass it. So we got people like, oh, the president, we want this black agenda, but then you go, okay, you're not coming out to understand, to get that black agenda passed. That shit ain't gonna pass the Republican Senate.
Nope.
So I mean, so their people actually know how the system works.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is now, because we've talked about this often, we talked about the problem with Democratic messaging, where the Democrats spend their money, where the Democrats put their eggs. So I'm asking why, and just trying to be solution oriented. What can the Democratic Party do in the future to get more people out to the midterms, to get more awareness out to the Democratic Party? Because the GOP seems to be doing damn good with their messaging. They be doing damn good with getting people out to the midterm elections. So that's what I'm asking. Like, what is it? What is the issue? And what do the Democrats need to do to try to match up and change that narrative?
To be honest,
Democrats don't want to change that.
They need
They're
to figure
comfortable
out
with the way it is.
They need to figure out who. They need to figure out who they are trying to reach and go. Remember when we were trying to get President Obama in? They had P. Diddy. It was a rock the vote campaign. We had more 18 to 35-year-olds coming out. It was about education. But they're, like Quincy said, the problem is there's like 35. They're the bleeding hearts. They're trying to reach everybody. You can't spend a bunch of money everywhere. You got to figure out what you're trying to do, and then you got to go for it. Again, Republicans, you rich, you racist, we got it. Or you either one or the other, or you're both. That's all we need to. That's all we need to pander to. But the Democrats are so busy trying to pander to like 35 different. You can't split the pot.
Education
is not there
to win.
Right. The other thing is like they don't have a hand on the pulse. Case in point, Jamie Harrison, South Carolina. This motherfucker is doing everything on his own.
And the DNC is not behind. So this is the shit that I'm talking about. And this is the shit I'm talking about with Democratic messaging and how fucked up and off and behind they are. Because somebody like Jamie Harrison, the DNC should go and be behind that dude, especially when he got a chance to knock somebody off that's been one of their fucking thorns in the side. But why is the Democratic Party not behind that dude, right? And then we talk about the other things that happen and the other things that's going on. This is what I'm saying. Like, there are certain races, like the Democratic Party, the old guard, the people that are actually in charge of the DNC, they put so much money and time in trying to reach fucking progressives and undecided voters. I mean, moderates and undecided voters, as opposed to going after the progressives. So now they running the progressives off. When honestly, I think the people that are coming up, the progressives are the ones who actually want to make moves, who want to make change. And the older Democrats, they don't want that. That's why you see Nancy Pelosi beefing with AOC and Ilhan Omar and all those people. The real progressives who are like, we are really here for the people, they've been trying to shut them up for the longest. And I think that's a big issue with what's going on with the voice of the Democratic Party right now. Because I would say that everybody on this panel, I would say all of y'all are more progressive than you are moderate, correct?
Yeah.
All of y'all are more progressive than moderate. But the Democratic Party keeps spending so much time trying to go after moderates and undecided voters, which most likely are already Trump supporters anyway, as opposed to bringing in the moderates. And if you look at most of the people on your timeline who are like, fuck this Democratic Party, fuck the da-da-da, most of them are people that we would consider progressives. And I'm seeing more and more, the Democratic is losing black progressives because of the missteps that they're doing and the missteps that they're taking on the midterms. The missteps they're taking.
Dame, how sure are we are we sure that those are missteps, or is that the plan?
Well,
I mean, at some point we have to stop. Like, I mean, it's like the answer's right in front of us, but we're trying to our hardest to ignore it and let's find every other reason. But they want it this way. They're comfortable with us being oppressed. Us not being oppressed means they're going to lose stuff. I mean, that's ultimately what's going to happen. That's what's happening. So why not just sit up in front? I mean, at some point, when are we going to just stop trying to rewrite the fact? Is they don't want change.
This is the problem. How do you appease every?
By acting like you're trying to please everybody. I mean, that's the reality of it. Let's just sit up here in front like we want to help everybody, and nothing will change, and we'll remain who we are. We just want to keep our jobs. We just want to keep our jobs and our paycheck.
Think about it.
I don't want nothing to change.
But to understand how we got to this point, they know how it works. And folks, the information is out there. You continue to be hot and cold. Like I said, we said it on this show, what was going to happen. So I don't understand how you expect change. Like I said, we put Obama in, but then we didn't understand that in order for him to actually make the change that you want, you had to give him the Congress he needed to make the change.
So as the Democrats, if that's the case, Q, you have to tell people who don't understand the system, this is not just what we need. Now that we have Obama in office, what we need you all to do is to go vote for the primary so that we can keep. You have to educate people. You have to treat people like we're flat out stupid as a whole. Like, don't assume.
That's the problem, because to me it was common sense when Obama got elected and the Republicans was like,
common sense is not common though, Q.
Yeah,
you know this. Common sense is only relative to your understanding.
They literally told us what they were going to try to do to him. So I didn't think like you have to actually go out and tell people, look, if these motherfuckers ever get in charge, this is what they're going to do, because they was the minority at the time. And they were saying, look, we're going to sabotage the fuck out of him. Like, they was telling us what they were going to do. So, I mean, I personally didn't think people need to be educated on that. I mean,
but I'm saying clearly they do. Yeah, clearly they do. If you say we came out for the general election in 2010, put Obama in office, didn't come back for the midterms, then came back again, put him in, and didn't put him back in the midterms. To me, at that point, that means there's some messaging going wrong. If you got the message out to get people to come vote for the presidency, but there wasn't enough messaging to get people to come out for the midterms, I think that's an issue, and that's something that needs to be stopgap. If you do want to give Biden, if Biden wins, and you do want to give Biden a Democratic Senate, something has to change so people will be energized to come out. Now, I will say,
but wait a minute. Just to that point, really quick, it's not just. And I'm not in love with the Democrats right now either, but it's not just to the point of their messaging. It's like sometimes 10% of voting in the midterms in general for everybody is a norm, or in city or local elections is a norm. So it's not that, it's just most people view the presidential election as more important than the midterms. That's in general. Now, because Republicans know how to take advantage of whatever is going on politically, then Democrats are going to come out losing. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily even losing people or losing this or whatever. Because look at what happened with the Senate, justice that they stole. They weren't majority, right? Or were they majority?
They were majority. Yeah.
Okay, so they were majority. They still ended up making up some rules, stealing a vote. You know, not letting President Obama get his appointee in. They take advantage.
That was Mitch McConnell.
They took 200 appointees from Obama.
Yep.
Yeah. So my point is, it's not the Democrats. They should have better messaging in general, but it's not them in midterms. It's just that Republicans know how, because they play dirty and they playing chess, and we still playing Legos.
Well,
they know how.
Before you go, Marla.
They know how to take advantage of whatever they're given at that point better than the Democrats do.
But we just need to change the game. We see what the game is at this point. Right now, no, the Democrats should not be functioning like that. But we can't afford to sit around and whine about what they're not doing. We understand what the game is. So we have to get ourselves together and use them as a tool to get what we want from them. We can't expect Democrats to step up on
So this is my issue. How can we use them as a tool when they're not even doing the regular function of government to be able to get themselves empowered? So I don't disagree with that, Sheila, but I'm saying, for example, we talking about Trump might be getting his next Supreme Court. Now we all know, right. But what I'm saying, we all know on this panel that if the Democrats really wanted to stop that, all they had to do was impeach him or impeach Barr again.
That's if Mitch McConnell and them decide to follow that rule.
And you know he's not gonna follow that rule. We should be able to sue Mitch McConnell for this bullshit. If he held up President Obama 10 months before it was time for him to get reelected, and it's just like, oh yeah, I don't see no problem with this dude being able. Well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. I know that everybody, it's not good to talk about dead people. I'm sorry, I really don't give a fuck about that right now. They gave Ruth Bader Ginsburg an opportunity to retire during President Obama's era, and she just decided she had already had a bout with cancer and was already really old. Why would you not just step down at that point so that we could have somebody else liberal in that position? But she just decided that she was gonna Hulk it out, and now she done died on us before it's time for us to get somebody.
I don't think she decided. I think the people that's pulling the strings decided. She didn't decide that.
No.
The people that run this country.
They tried to get her to resign. That was in 2014. They tried to get her to resign so Obama could replace her. She assumed that Hillary was going to be the next president and that she can make, because you got to remember, Hillary was the one that told Bill Clinton to select her in the first place. So she thought, and the other mistake was not taking Trump seriously. People take Trump seriously, and everybody assumed that Hillary was going to win, and she didn't resign. And like Sheila said, she didn't die on.
No, the thing is, I think everyone did take Trump seriously. The 2 years ago with the changing of the blue wave, I think he saw that and he countered with these courts.
No, dude. People didn't think Trump was gonna win.
No. As far as like the locals and whatnot, 2 years ago, where everything was changing, he saw that, and he came in. He came in with a counter.
There's a cat behind him that nobody talks about called Leonard Leo. Who has been orchestrating all of these picks with these judges and stuff. He started back in the Reagan era. It's a dude named Leonard Leo that everybody needs to know who he is. He has chess moved all of this. He said all of this shit.
It's actually Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell never wanted to be anything else. He never wanted to be president. He never wanted to be. His main mission has been to take over the courts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he want his legacy to be. That so basically, although they don't fuck with Trump, they knew that Trump would pick the appointees that they wanted. That's why for Obama last 2 years they held over 100 seats, vacant spots. So the thing is, how do Democrats counter this? And I think
that's what I'm asking. Like for real, that's what I've been saying the whole time.
Well, it's only one way. They're gonna have to take the Senate and retaliate like a motherfucker. When
that's the only way.
But do we have faith that they'll do that? Like that's my thing. Do we have faith that they'll actually do that?
We gotta push them to do it.
Here's the thing.
We're talking about packing the courts for like 2 years. Now, some Democrats are with it. Some now. Some are not. Now I'm starting to hear more and more kind of speak about it, but it's not something that they can actually campaign on.
Because I don't know if y'all heard the next thing was Marco Rubio is trying to pass a bill before this all happens that they lock the Supreme Court at 9.
9.
So they can't. So that's what I'm saying. It's like they are literally a step ahead of the Democrats.
That bill, he had that at 2000. That was 2000. That was last year, actually. He been trying, but nobody really listen to him. Thank God. But that because you would have to change that amendment because any president or Senate, they could lower the Supreme Court too. You could decrease it or increase it. It's been changed multiple times. It's been 6, it's been 7, it's been 9, it's been 10. It's been changed multiple times. But the only true way, because that nominee is getting in, the only true way to get back is get Biden, get the Senate, and then they got to pack the courts. Pack the courts, make DC and Puerto Rico a state, so you can get 2 extra Senate seats, and just say completely fuck the norms, and go from there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have faith. Like, if you was the President Q, I believe that shit would happen. Unfortunately, I don't have faith in this current Democratic Party that's in a current super moderate state. Now, if AOC was the president right now, I would believe that she would do all of that shit. Like, if somebody like AOC was president, I would believe all that shit was happening. But with somebody like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi still at the helm, I do not see that kind of
situation. Nancy Pelosi would do it. Now, Biden, on the other hand, I don't know, but I think Nancy Pelosi would actually do this shit. Mm-hmm. She's pretty much a savage like that. But I think it's not something. And I was debating back and forth on people on Twitter about. I don't think it's something he could campaign on at this present time. I think it would be a mistake for Biden to campaign because, like I said, in the Democratic Party, you got to appease way too many people. And if he starts to talking about impacting the courts, all that shit, Republicans just gonna flip it, which they're already trying to do because a couple of congressmen and already spoke out about it. That's why they told Biden to stay out that debate, and let them press the packing courts and etc.
Yeah,
and then I think I want to say that Nancy has something up her sleeves. Because the fact that Kevin McCarthy came out and actually threatened that the Republican Party would try to figure out a way to oust her, that makes me feel that she has something up her sleeves. What it is, don't know. But I think she got something up her sleeves. Now, to elaborate on your question before, I have to say I think it's more on us at this point, where it's like we know what's at stake. We don't need anyone to tell us anymore. It's like folks just got to go out and vote. Folks just got to do their part. Folks got to pay attention to their local elections.
Yeah.
Because.
I was just gonna say. So we were talking about as far as political moves. Will we rather them take a political move and risk Biden and Kamala getting in and have that Supreme Court justice, or do we want to get them in and try to do what we have to do?
So this is my issue. This is my issue with that conundrum. If they get their Supreme Court pick in, and if it's somebody who I think he's talking about, regardless of Biden and Kamala, that person is going to be in the Supreme Court to upwards of 2050, 2055. We talking way more. Like so what I'm saying is like the Republicans have such a better hold on playing the long game, and me and Quincy have talked about this. They play the long game while the Democrats play this weird morality game, and they play this weird I don't know what you call it. Like they play this weird
participation award game.
No, not even participation, just like virtue test. Like they want the purest person, and while they trying to get the purest person and the most righteous person, the Republicans over there like we don't give a damn if it's literally a demon leading us, as long as we get and got the power. And you can't beat somebody when you're playing by the old rules of war, where you walk up with the gun and you take a fucking bayonet and y'all say aim, fire at each other, and the other motherfuckers is fighting like they in Vietnam in guerrilla warfare, dressed up in green and hiding in shit, right? Because that's what's happening. The Democrats are still playing like these are the straight up rules, these are the rules of war and the rules of engagement. And the motherfucking Republicans on some kamikaze shit. You know what I'm saying?
But in regards to that, I'm with Ron. I feel like it's strategic. I feel like they're very good at giving the appearance of doing something without actually trying to do anything. But if we get on their ass and apply pressure and keep it there, they'll still have to respond to the pressure that we apply. We just have to come together in a united way to do it. But I don't think that they really have I don't think that's really the purpose for them to try to do something. I think it's just a purpose for them to look like they're doing something. I think that's the reason when we're coming in school, you learn about the president and the vice president. These niggas really don't mean that much. There needs to be way more focus on the judicial branch. Like who cares about the executive branch in terms of, what really gets done? But that's all we're taught. President and vice president, maybe a governor you talk about a little bit. But we don't talk about any of that stuff in government growing up. And that's for a reason. That's why our generation grew up, a lot of us not even caring, because we really felt like none of that stuff that they did affected us. And now we see this is getting real for everybody. So hopefully this will be the new norm, this shift to trying to find out what's going on, being involved in what's going on, and staying involved in what's going on. But just expecting the Democrats to do right, I don't think that's their goal.
I want to address this comment. He said, I think it's a mischaracterization to see AOC as a savior of the Democratic Party. The general public isn't going to be that far left. I honestly disagree with this. I didn't say she was the savior of the party.
I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, I don't think I ever said she was the savior of the party. I was saying the Democratic Party, they're losing a lot more of their progressive base, which I think the progressive base will be much more energized than the old people who are still the voting bloc.
Well, tell me this then. Then I think that fall backs on us, because if that's the case, why did we save Biden?
I agree. I don't disagree with you. I agree.
We did that. Nobody else.
But you know who did that? Who did that? Voters age what? Black voters age what?
No, it was us too.
I said black voters what age?
Our parents' age.
Thank you. Let me tell you the lowest voting block for Biden and the lowest voting block for Democrats, 18 to 29. You know how many people that is? 18 to 29 is the lowest voter block and the lowest voter turnout for Democrats right now. You know why that is? Because they keep leaning to that moderate shit. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They not getting the youth vote because they keep falling for that moderate, undecided bullshit when you should be going after the younger vote. And the younger vote, 18 to 29, is a big block, and it's much more progressive than our parents' votes. Our parents are going to always vote moderate because that's where they are. But 18 to 29 being the lowest voting block, if you don't go after them and get them, you're going to have a hard time not only getting presidencies, you're going to have a hard time getting midterms too. If you don't get that 18 to 29 voter block.
I'll even say one more thing. It's all over the news in these protests. It's the kids. It's the kids. It's right there in front of your face. And these are the kids that were listening to Bernie.
And that's what I'm saying. And I don't know, man. Like I said, a lot of them kids.
I mean, I was even with Bernie until, I noticed a few times where they try to ask Bernie about reparations, and that nigga was real hush on the reparations conversations. You get like,
Bernie, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There were people. I don't want to sound like a broken record. There were people that had a much stronger message about black folks than they was getting 1% of the black vote.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Rob.
No, well, I think that what we're seeing, and I want to believe that there's a frustration that we're feeling nationwide within the Democratic Party, where you have these younger kids that are looking at the older demos like, y'all fucking up. Like, this is our time right now.
Right.
And I have a feeling, I'm praying to God, I have this feeling that we're going to see more and more of their voice coming up and their questioning and their pushing, some of these older Democrats like out the door.
It have to be because honestly, if we don't do that and if we don't have that, I don't have faith in the party moving forward. I don't have faith in the party actually being progressive. I don't have faith in the party actually doing the things that we are asking and that we need in order for us to have better lives. And again, like I said, as long as I see them continuing to try to play fair when you playing against niggas who ain't trying to play fair at all, it's hard for me to have faith in that. Yes,
it's a wash.
It's a wash. Because what do we do even if we get the power and won't utilize the power in the same way? Like, we literally know the reason the Republicans back Trump in every single thing he do, because they regardless of Trump or not, we gonna get our judges in and we gonna get our power grab, because that's all that matters to us. They have a hold on the long game. The Democrats do not, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I asked y'all about even the midterms. For some reason, the Democratic Party, and I mean when I say the party, I'm not talking about the voters. I'm talking about the Democratic Party, like the actual DNC. For some reason, they don't have a hold on the messaging that it takes. Because for Democrats to be such a big tent party, it shouldn't be this hard for them to win certain elections, because they are a much bigger tent party than Republicans. And it's always super hard for them to win elections. So I think that's something that really needs to be looked at and something that really needs to be reformed within the Democratic Party and the actual Democratic National Convention.
Well, like we said earlier, it's going to always be hard for them because they need so many different demographics to win. Whereas the Republican Party, like Chandra said, all you need is a white nationalist agenda, and the message is there.
Yeah.
Whereas the Democrats, they got to appease gay people, you got to appease black folks, got to appease Latinos in California and Arizona because they different than the Latinos in Florida. I mean, you got to appease all these different groups of people. So it's going to always be a struggle. Like I saw somebody when somebody was like, well, we need somebody to have a black agenda. A Latino dude was like, well, why there's not a Mexican agenda? So Biden only care about black people. So we go into there's infighting within the party because there's way too many groups to appease.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like,
it is crazy.
Means we need our own party. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
But you know, folks are to find out. You know, everybody thinks everything is the same. Well, we're to find out.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think everything is the same. I think everything is different, and everybody realized that shit except the fucking Democratic Party. That's what I feel like. I feel like everybody realizes what's happening. Everybody sees what's right in front of us except the Democratic Party, because not just this too. Like, I'm going back to so many things that the Democrats have been going so soft on. They have been coming out soft on because now, like regardless of the impeachment, like you said, Quincy, there's a plethora of things they could have, impeached Trump on, or there's a plethora of other illegal things happening that they just like, oh, well, we're not going to say nothing about that. We're not going to do nothing about that. The shit with AG Barr in the fucking post office and like literally, they don't care about gerrymandering. They don't care about suppressing votes. They don't, and all the things they do, I don't see no fight in the Democrats to come back and really try to stop that shit. And we have to be smart enough, and we have to be real with ourselves to talk about this is an issue right now. If we talking about putting Biden and Kamala in office, which a lot of people are, even on the Republican side, are talking about putting her in office, putting those two in office, then there's got to be some change within that party if we are actually talking about real progress and not the status quo. That's my thing. I'm no longer talking about the status quo. I'm talking about if we do all of this and we get them in, we have to do the things, which includes, like you said, coming out for the midterm. But even if we come out for the midterm, I still need to see the Democrats behave different, if that makes sense. If we come out for the midterms and give them the House and the Senate, will they behave different, or will they continue to do this? We trying to play by the rules shit when the Republicans don't give a shit. Like that's my thing.
No, what we do is vote people in who are going to behave correctly. We just can't expect it from the people who we're looking at right now.
Who runs the Democratic Party? Let's break it down. Who runs the Democratic Party? The wealthy Democrats, right? Yeah. Right or wrong? These are the wealthy Democrats. Yes. Who benefits from the system changing? The wealthy Democrats or the lower end of the voting population? That's not the
wealthy ones,
right? Yeah. So, and that's my point. So they don't want it to change, and they're going to keep this system the way it is, so that they can keep benefiting off of us, and they're going to pretend like they care. I mean, at some point, I hate to be this broken record, but we have to see them as just as much as an enemy as a Republican.
You know what? Then,
until they can prove differently.
Then if that's the case, then we're wasting our time having these conversations. We're wasting our time voting, and we're wasting our time breaking down these conversations.
It shouldn't go to this extreme.
But it is, though.
We see them for who they are.
We're saying that it's not helping, because people are saying, this is another thing that bothers me. I understand that the system was not made for Black people. I understand that the country is, but to say that, it's still the same, it's the same. It's not. We're not in Jim Crow. We're like Dave was saying earlier. We could buy houses now. Everything is not perfect. Let me say my piece.
We can buy houses.
Everything is not perfect, but things are better than they were for our parents. Things are better than they were for our grandparents. There are laws that we went to school, we have jobs, things that people 20, 30, 40 years ago couldn't do. So if we really, really feel like in our hearts that it's just not for us, then we don't even need to discuss politics anymore. We don't need to vote. We don't need to try to tell people, get out to the primaries, get out to watch the debate, educate yourself. What's the point?
Well, this is exactly how. Well, this is exactly how they got the power.
So then, Ron, are you saying that we should just give up and just accept everything that it is?
No. Well, what I should say is we should give up on the Democrats Party and depend on ourselves. Create our own party. Create our own agenda. Create our own movement. And then we just ask for the things. Let me finish. And then ask for the things that benefit us. If you Democrats who are going to run this, or if you Republicans need our vote, these are the things we need. And all this other shit that you guys are trying to preach, we're concerned with us, because we've been left behind, and it's clear that neither one of you are going to put us at the forefront of your agenda. So with that said, is that we're selling our vote. We're going to start playing America like America is meant to be played, for what it's worth.
Who are you selling?
I mean, we're practicing insanity. We're trying the exact same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different change, and it's not going to change.
Who are you selling the vote to?
To either party, whoever is going to provide what we need.
To either party. You think
to either party.
You think Republicans want the black vote?
At this point, what do we have to lose?
Everything.
We lost everything. We never had anything.
We have more than we had before.
Well, I mean that I don't agree with we had more than we had before. We had the most when we were out of slavery.
Like then are you talking about how it's going to get passed when they run everything for the next 30, 40 years?
They've been run everything for 400 years. That's the image that they're trying to sell us is like we have a choice. We don't have a choice.
There's no point to voting in.
I agree. I agree.
I'm
not arguing that at all.
There's no point to discuss if it's all the same. They just say fuck it, fuck politics, and we just gonna take it like it is.
Well, my thing is, why do it have to go there? Why can't we discuss the issues within the Democratic Party? Why does it have to be? Hold on. But I'm saying, but hold on. Why does it have to be if I'm like, I need them to behave differently? We say, well, fuck it then. We might as well not vote. I think that's whack because I think that's one of the reasons the Democrats get to continue to not do shit for us is because anytime I critique or one of us critique, it turns into like
because we failed to miss you just said we failed to miss the long game. People had the same attitude in 2016 when we was preaching the shit was bigger than Hillary. We was preaching that shit. We preached it. Me and you and Chad was preaching on this show that election was bigger than Hillary. But no one listened. So here we are now. So now they better get the Supreme Court.
We want to win our way, Dame. That's the problem. So as long as we want to win our way, we're going to lose all our separate ways.
Trump has appointed 198 federal judges. That's the court system.
That's America.
Well,
that's America. It kind of is what it is. I think we should just accept it for what it is. It's a racist, white supremacist country that we choose to live in.
But here's the thing, Ron.
What it is.
The attitudes you're having as far as giving up led to this 198. As opposed to doing something.
What led to 400 years? Let's go. Since we using history, we playing the long game. We have to understand history. So I mean. But that's why I try not to even get into. I try not to get into this
between the history that we dealt with.
Same place.
Well, the difference now is that we have access to more information than we have ever had in our entire lives.
What are we doing with the information?
It's not just about relying on, but still, a lot of the way that we were acting in the past, not to try to play the blame game, was because we were working off filtered information. We were working off of what
we're still working off of. We're working off of filtered.
If you choose to. For people who choose to work off of filtered information, if you choose to do your own research, you don't just work off. That's why your mindset is different, because you don't just take what's fed to you. You go and look for more information, and that's why you have the way that you think. But I think the difference now is we have younger people who are on fire. There's information that they can't hide from us. Yes, it's a shitty situation, but sitting down and just looking around and saying it's shitty ain't gonna do it. We just have to recognize I'm saying just attack that part of it and work on it.
I'm not saying quit. I'm saying let's work on ourselves. Let's work on loving each other. Let's work on spending money with each other, keeping our community to ourselves, start protecting our community. We don't need them, not in that fashion, but we can do for us. And I think depending on a system that we know is flawed, is just like it's insanity as far as I'm concerned.
Aren't you?
We're depending on a broken system.
Aren't you the same person that said that we don't have anything?
The little we have, we can circulate amongst ourselves, and we'll have more than we've ever had. Like if we just spent it with ourselves, we'd have more than we ever had.
But we live here. It's not like we are. I mean, because again, we've all agreed, yes, having our own party, having our own representation. But we live here. We live in a system where our sons and our nephews and our cousins and you guys are subjected to this, to issues with the police, to issues with the justice system, where we live here. So because we live here, I think we can only do our due diligence to figure out how to figure out the system, do what they did, figure out the system and try to infiltrate and change it. That's what I think we're trying to do. So the
system's infiltration proof.
Okay.
It's infiltration proof.
Okay.
Right.
Here's the thing.
We're done.
It's gonna take war.
No.
Do you guys want to do the DM? because I gotta go make dinner.
Yeah, because
there's no point. There's no point in having this conversation.
But I think it. Hold on, but I think it is. Like I think it is a point in having this conversation.
If you're talking about making a change, Dame, your question is how do we change? Your question is how do we change? How do we get the Democrats to have different messaging? How do we get our own party? How do we like? Those are very valid questions because again, we live here. We live. Unfortunately, we live in America, so we have to work within the system, make our own system, make our own party. We have to do that. We can't just say, "Oh well, it doesn't work for us, so let's forget it." Like,
well, listen, but
answers to those valid questions.
But I think where it goes off the rails though, because like when Ron says it's infiltration proof, I get what he's saying because if you look at the progressive and they call them the posse, the four, what they call them, you know what I'm talking.
Instrument of the Apocalypse.
No, it's Ilhan, AOC. They call the freshman four is something like that. But you see, those four seem to have infiltrated the party. It wasn't the Republicans who've been trying to shut them up. It's been the Democrats trying to shut them up. Like it's been the Democrats trying to sit them down. It's been Nancy Pelosi beefing with AOC in her positions.
Well, just like they got those old Republicans, they got those old Democrats that gotta die.
I know. That's my point. Like so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you have, if you're talking about we want change, we want progressiveness, and then you see progressives from the party actually get in the party, and they are silenced not by the Republicans. Those new Democrats are silenced by the other Democrats. Even like you said, Andrew Yang should have been much higher on the totem pole, and when it comes to the primaries and the things that he was talking about, and the progressive nature of his, the progressive nature of all of his policies. Even if you want to talk about black people's black people's agenda. I know people wanted to call her crazy, but your girl, Marianne Williamson, had a specific plan for black people and a specific plan for reparations. And I think she got less than 1% of the vote. Who did we put back in? Like Quincy said, moderate Joe Biden. Moderate Joe Biden, who I don't know is going to really make the moves that we need to make, only because, and this is why I'm saying we at dire straits right now. Those baby steps that the moderates try to make ain't gonna work for black people no more at this point because of things like Breonna Taylor, because of things like George Floyd, because of so to fix those systemic things, you're gonna need somebody who's willing to be a little more progressive on some of these shits.
Hey, check this out. Karen Bass presented a George Floyd bill back in June. It was passed in the House. Guess where it's sitting at?
In the Senate.
Exactly. Think that shit gonna pass?
No.
Exactly. And to me, that's my point. But since everyone feels that no matter what, I guess Obama appointees was gonna be the same as Trump's. Like I said, folks, they about to figure it out because the majority of the country only 20%. Only 20% of the country is against Roe v. Wade. That means 80% of the country is okay with it.
Right.
But they're putting in a judge that only agree with that 20%.
Right.
The same thing with Affordable Care Act. The majority of the country, 30 million people, they like the Affordable Care Act. They putting in a judge that's against Affordable Care Act. You know who that's going to affect more than anybody?
Our parents.
Yes, because diabetes and they adding COVID to pre-existing conditions.
Yep.
So that's going to affect us. But since everyone feels that no matter whether it's a Democrat appointee or a Republican appointee, it's all the same, we about to find out how much of a difference it really is, because they putting in people that don't agree with the majority of the country. And folks about to find out the difference.
Chan,
I'm just checking on citizenship in Germany at this point.
Chan, what's the
Go
DM?
ahead,
I'm looking at Canada.
Oh yeah, by the way, Trump is for stop and frisk nationwide. Add that to your depression list.
You know what? I don't even know if I want to do this. Is like a random DM that I chose a long time ago, but I don't even know if I want to do this one.
Make sure it's grimy.
It's not grimy, actually.
Damn.
It's actually not grimy. Mars, you like grimy DMs?
At this point, I need some grimy DMs.
All right, let me see.
I agree.
I need
Mark. You need some fallaciousness. You need some fallaciousness tonight.
Did you guys did we cover all of our topics?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay. Cause I didn't have something super grimy for today. For some reason, I don't know what. Oh, I did the herpes one, right?
Yes.
Did I oh, that one's pretty grimy.
Yes.
Hey, make sure I can read all the words.
Need an Ebonics translation?
Mm-hmm. No.
I got some breaking news.
What?
He threatens motion to oust Pelosi if she moves forward with impeachment.
Yeah, I said that.
Out her?
Yeah,
oust her?
Yep.
Like get her out?
Yep.
Can they do that?
Yep.
How?
Well, he could try.
Stormtroopers.
But they would have to take a vote. I don't think they'll get those votes in the House.
Anything's possible. It's 2020.
Okay. Any woman. This is from a page. All right. So any woman on this page who was or is married to a bisexual man, how is the relationship? I just found out that the man I'm dating for 2 months is bisexual. Not being straight is a big deal breaker for me, but I have strong feelings for this man. I have such strong feelings for this man. I want to continue what we have now. I'm worried that it will not be worth it. I'm having a hard time deciding if I should stay in the relationship or not, because I'm not sure if I can give him everything that he might want in a relationship. I.e., what a man can. Any advice?
Say it again.
Basically, she found out the dude she's been dating for 2 months is bisexual. And she's concerned. She wants to still date him, but she's concerned that she can't give him everything a man can.
Yeah, because she don't have a dong.
Right.
You could buy one.
So she wants advice.
What's the advice? Hey, listen, I'm out of my depth for this. I don't have no advice for that.
So no. Do you think that dating a bisexual woman is different from dating a bisexual man?
Me personally, no.
No. Okay.
Me personally, no. But society at large, yes.
My thing is, if you had to find out that he was bisexual, you just pretty much need to, it ain't really nothing else to talk about. You just need to wrap it up right then. You could halfway get past it if a man steps up and says, hey, this is what I have going on, and allow her the option to say, okay, because even if I guess a person was bisexual in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to cheat on you. If there's somebody who's into you, they might still just be faithful to you. But at least if they say it up front, you get your choice to choose. If you had to find out that someone was bisexual,
so your issue is more of the lie or the omission.
Yes.
So why is it that we people generally attach like bisexuality or like gayness to like promiscuity? Like, why can't he be a bisexual? Why can't he be a bisexual? I was just saying that just in general. Why can't he be a bisexual man that's just like, now he found a woman that he wants to be with and he's cool because she feels like he might want to be with another man. Like,
well, I think so. So I think that's one of the issues, right? I think that's one of the issues that she's gonna have to figure out if she can deal with it or not, because The problem is she's going to always wonder if there's something that's not enough that she's not giving him because he is bisexual, right? Like I think that's the thing that seems to be an issue with a lot of these scenarios, is because she's always like, well, if he like men too, I can't be that. So how am I going to fulfill that side of what he likes and what he wants? But I mean, honestly, I think a lot of dudes feel that same way too when they with a bisexual woman, because it's like a lot of dudes who are married or with bisexual women, a lot of them like, well, I'll invite another woman into the relationship, so they be down with it, they be with that. But then you have men who like think once I marry her, that stops, and sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
but that still comes down to honesty.
I don't know if I could date a bisexual man. Even if I knew from the gate, I don't think I could.
That's too much emotional
I
shit.
could date a man who tried something sexually if he decided that it was not something he was into.
Really?
I'm that open-minded.
So you could date a nigga who took a little dick and said, not for me?
Well, I don't know about the taking it. Like if he got some head or something, like but to tell you the truth, I don't know. If it was a really liberal, if it was an amazing person, I am that liberal. Like if it was something that you tried, I'm not gonna penalize you for trying it.
So
if it's something where it's just like some gay dude's talking about this was his ex and you the man that's with me, like yeah. Like we don't have nothing to talk about because you just that's a pretty big secret. So and that's the kind of dudes that be having beards and still banging dudes on the side.
So you got Tank on your playlist.
Nah, because he said a couple of dicks. That's not experimenting. He went back for it.
I'm
good on Tank.
I'm just gonna say no to the bisexual.
Yeah, she needs to pass up on that because at the end of the day, it's like at some point the mental fatigue is going to get her where she's going to be like, well, is he thinking about me or is he thinking about old boy?
Well, let me ask y'all this, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this and they had like episodes about it on Insecure. Is this about is this about the stigma of being bisexual, or is it really about what you women think for yourselves or on your own? Like how Sheila said, like I could probably do it. But Chan, like if you like, no, it's a no for me. Is it a no for you because just that's not for you sexy, or is it because like I don't want people knowing my man took a couple of them?
I think it's like all of the above because like on Insecure, you know, he was like she was telling him like I did this thing with women and he was like, yeah, I kind of had the same experience with a man. It was years ago. It was in college. It was one time. And on the surface, it's like, like I did the same thing, you know. Why is it not the same? But I think we're so stigmatized to bisexual equals gay, like that's all the way there that you're just like, no, if a man is bisexual, he's gay. Like that's kind of where the mentality is. So of course, you don't want to be with a gay man. The episode on Insecure was really good, I thought, because again, they were both compared. They both were saying they did the same thing, but he took it like way differently than she took it. She was like, no. And then even when she met him later on back, she assumed that he was with some guy. You know what I mean? When clearly they had hooked up and had a good time together. So I think it's just the stigma of, you know, bisexual equals gay that, you know, I would just have to say.
Yeah, see, I'm a person that don't really give a damn about stigmas. Like I deal with people how I deal with them. I don't really care what anybody else is gonna think.
Care about that motion in the ocean.
I ain't say it was what I was looking for, Mars. I'm just saying I wouldn't completely dismiss an otherwise good guy if that was something that was in his past, especially if it was something he was honest about and told me. If it was not something that you told me about and I had to find out, that's when you like we can't.
All right, so Sheila, let me ask you this: how many of them can he take where you be like, all right, that's one too many?
Well, that's why I said it would have to be some experimental stuff. If you tried it and said that's not my thing, a one-time deal, and said that's not my deal. If you went back, that was kind of your thing.
30 seconds too long, glancing at it at the gym.
I'm trying to see what's the line here.
To me, one experiment is the lump.
One experiment, so
that's enough to know if that's something you
Stan?
into. If you went back to it, then that ain't no experiment. That was something you was into and you went back to.
So it's just one tank for you.
No, I would just
one tank equals 2 penises, so no tanks.
Don't even tell me. I won't ask. A very good friend of mine told me, and I really absorbed this as an adult. Do not ask a question that you do not want the answer to. And I promise you, as an adult, that has saved my life. Because literally, because you have to think in your head. Worst case scenario, if he says yes, and I'm like, oh, well, F you, but he's the greatest guy, and it messes me up mentally, I shouldn't have never known that information. So I will never ask. We won't have that discussion.
Well, and I'm the opposite on that. I'm a person that's going to ask the question. I really want the answer, but I'm always going to give extra credit for honesty.
Secrets
especially
never
about
stay
hard
secrets.
things to be honest about.
Well, some things I don't want to talk about that I did, so you don't need to talk about that you did.
Let's explore that thought, Chandra. Let's explore that thought, Chandra.
What'd you say?
Let's explore that thought, Chandra. Some of the things you never did that you did. Let's explore that.
It's time to go.
All right. Uncouth Radio. We want to thank everybody for watching, joining us, man. Y'all be on the lookout. Get ready to vote. Get ready to vote for the midterms. And the world is going to hell in a handbasket. So I really don't know what's next. So I guess we'll see y'all next motherfucking week.
All right.
You just sound defeated.
Dude, I'm still trying to do my reface. My thing is not working properly.
Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeball, he won.